Now, young architects often underestimate. These are the sort. Actually taught me drawing is just AI cannot do it. A simple idea executed exceptionally well will outperform.
Welcome back to another episode of Architecture Playbook series Intent to Impact. Here we talk about from design to execution and whatever happens in between. Today we have joined with architect Divyatanu Dev, an architect, urban designer, part of the team of IASD Studio, having studied architecture at Manipal Academy of Higher Education and later pursued urban design at CEPT University. Divyatanu represent a generation of architects navigating the intersection of design, cities, technology, and execution. What makes this conversation particularly interesting is that he belongs to a generation that redefined architecture practice. While previous generation focuses on mastering design, today's architects are expected to understand urban system, project delivery, business, technology, and increasingly the impact of AI in the profession. We are exploring what really it means to be a young architect in today's generation, the opportunities, the challenges, the lessons learned from the practice, and the realities of architecture schools rarely prepare us for. Welcome to our podcast.
Thank you so much.
So nowadays, when students are entering to architecture colleges, they are not knowing what is actually architecture studies means. Go back to 18-year-old Divyatanu who entered architecture school, and what was your experience as a student in your first few years in college?
So, I was admitted to Manipal School of Architecture and Planning under Mahe, and I think there was some sort of a misconception that I had or a miscommunication. Like no one pushed me to the college, but then okay, I had a misconception about it. So I can say the biggest misconception that architecture is always not primarily about designing buildings. So I feel architecture school makes us believe that actually success comes from having the best concept or the most innovative design. But in practice, architecture is something more. It's something fundamental about managing complexities. So it's a bit more than just designing buildings. So that's what I learned, and that's what I felt different from what I entered when I entered the architecture school, and what is happening as of now today. So that has been constantly going on in my mind, and there has been a constant change or shift of thought between what I was taught in school and what is happening, what will happen. So I think this is the major change that has happened, because like the designing buildings in architecture schools, that was the thing that they teach, but then you're constantly it's something more. As I've already mentioned, it's something a bit more, because you're constantly balancing between aspirations with budgets, regulations, timelines, construction realities, consultant inputs, contractor limitations, and client expectations. The ability to navigate, that is what the ability to navigate these competing forces is often more important than the design brief.
Like when you completed your 5 years course, what was your biggest shock?
These are the shocks. These are the major shocks, because when we have to navigate through all of these, which are budgets, regulations, aspirations of myself and the client, and navigating through the consultants, contractors, etc., because these are the smaller complexities that an architect on a regular basis has to go through. So this is something which was a complete shock and slightly different than the romantic college life. So I'll say that was the major difference.
So there are so many professions options as you were a student. So why did you choose architecture, and what kept you going for in this profession?
So if you have to know the reality, I was really inclined towards flying. Okay, so but then due to a lot of changes, I was also interested in doing art and buildings really, and especially cities. When I travel with my mom and dad or friends or family, and I used to look at cities in a different way.
Because as I know, you have already have the license as a pilot.
Yes, yes, you did. Now, architecture offers something very unique. It sits, what I feel, it basically sits in the intersection of art, culture, economics, engineering, sociology, and politics. So these are the few things why I'm able to say this, because today I'm an urban designer too. So these are the small words that have constantly been there throughout my journey. So these are the few things that architecture sits in the intersection of. Now, very few professions allow you to influence how people experience their daily lives. And with one single move of yours, you can change how people perceive and react and shape different places and behave in different places, importantly. That really you know made me excited that you have the power to do a lot. You have the power, and people sort of who has come to you as a client or as a friend, like initially projects, how do you think they used to come? Through references. He's done architecture, let's ask him to do it for us. Because firstly, yeah, okay, architects, hiring an architect sometimes becomes a little costly affair for some people. So that way, when we saw our projects growing up, we saw that we could make an impact with our designs, because that really changes how people behave in that place. So that gave us the strength, that gave probably any architect the strength to keep going and keep doing and see how things happen in the spaces that they have created.
Like each space gave you a different experience, which made you think why it does and why architecture is creating those impacts. So, very nicely mentioned. So, architecture students see only the final outcome of the projects which they experience or see. What are the percentage of the design which is used in the project, and what is the actual practice when we are doing? What is the percentage which is related to decision making and on-site realities?
Okay, so okay, let me tell you this way. This is a good question, firstly, and secondly, I take a course. Right now, I'm an educator as well with practice. So I take a course at CEPT, which is basically like it's true for us also. When we studied architecture, even you probably, you must have seen this in the architecture schools, that they give you examples of the global north buildings. Yeah. So you look at the buildings from outside and you gaze at like, wow, this is such a good building. So your question is, how much percentage do you think is design and how much percentage you think is the execution and problem solving, right? So I think design it's only 20 to 30%, and the other percentage is about execution, problem solving, etc. Now, why? Because people see the final photograph and assume architecture is about only aesthetics. Whatever problems that I have mentioned, that the first thing when I came out as an architect and practice in the market, I felt these all problems are true for all the architects. I feel for all the architects who have come to the market, and they are realizing it today, that it's not only about design, which is hardly 20 to 30%. That's all. It's all on your mind, it's all on the paper, it's all with the pen, and your laptop is there, your system is there to support you. So I think it's only 20 to 30% only. But the reality is, most of our time is spent solving the problem. This is the other 80 or 70% that we spend our time in, and people look at just the 20 to 30%. That's all. A project essentially is I feel, a collection of problems: site constraints, regulations, budgets, stakeholder expectations, technical conflicts, etc. Now, design is important, because it gives direction. That's why that 20% cannot be thrown away, but it is important.
Yes. So what is the least glamorous part of the 80% which we are supposed to do but not taught? We are taught only the glamorous part of those 20%. The least
Yes.
glamorous part, which is like, for example, on-site checks, inspections, dealing with the contractors and other stakeholders, or maybe you can give your take, which is like not shown or not taught us in the college, but is part of the practice in the industry.
Yeah, that's what that's one thing that I'm thinking of. One personal experience, I can tell you one experience. There's one non-glamorous word called commission. Correct? There's a very non-glamorous word called commission. The word is seen in a negative way, but if you make it or tell it through some other way, like I have heard a few practitioners, they call it the headache amount. The headache, for all the headaches they have undergone from the clients, the contractors, the consultants, they take that amount for bearing with them. Which is, this is very funny, okay, this is very funny, but then I think there are ways to integrate that in a architect's fee. How? Okay.
For example, your consultancy fee would already be there. How are you going to add your commission, which is valid for the client side?
Which is valid for the client side. Matlab, see, there's no right percentage of commission that you can, cleanly write. Okay, there's no right percentage of commission. How much do you take?
How do you do it?
See, we have 7 offices. We have 7 offices in India. Okay, 3 of them overlooked by my dad, a few by me, and 1 or 2 by my wife to be. Okay, she is also an architect. She is a conservation architect. So the entire agenda of commission, in a non-glamorous way, I'm saying, we don't put it out loud. We don't put it out loud, and we don't integrate that thing in our day-to-day practices. We don't need that. But I feel every architect, every consultant deserves that, because of the time that he's giving for the shopping spree that one interior designer especially goes to the market looking for elements, because there are interior designers who just do the walls and furnishings and paint and ceilings, and that's all, flooring, etc. But there are also interior designers who look through and through, from the wall decors to your maybe wardrobe cabinets, etc., everything. So for them, I feel it is necessary that they add that. Now, how do I add that? That's a totally different thing. How do we do that? So how do we do that? It's always right that if you can keep things very transparent with your client, that if we do it turnkey, fully, we'll do it full. After the design gets approved, like whatever you see it on 3D, we'll present it exactly like that. So to find those items, I need time to go to the market, or I'll send people from my office to the market. So if they're spending time there, then I'll charge you something for that. So I think if you can make it very transparent like that, then why not? Now, after saying it out loud, I'm just realizing that many might be someone who's seeing this video, seeing our podcast today, they might feel that it's too transparent, it's too bold to say things out loud, but then this is a reality. I mean, what's the harm in it? I mean, if your client is very learned, very educated, well settled in today's world, then he'll know. And I think there's nothing wrong in asking for it or doing this, because firstly, this might not be implied for few, but then it is true, and I've seen it happening.
So rather than using the word commission for your actual thing, you can actually tell that the extra work which has gone into getting the execution done requires certain amount of money.
Yeah, so right now I'm in Ahmedabad, okay? So I keep traveling between Ahmedabad, Calcutta and Bangalore. So in these 3 zones, I've seen, it's a triangle, okay? It's a triangle. So I've seen that people have different ways of doing this. The most funny one was this headache amount. He has gone to the vendor and said कि आप 10 से 15%, 10 to 15% you keep it extra. Why? Because this might be, if I as a consultant don't take it, it's your benefit, and it should be my benefit also for coming here, giving time for that project. So I mean, it's implied. So it should be made possible and made true. There's nothing, no harm in it. That's all.
So, you are a practicing architect and you do residential as well as commercial buildings and different typologies of buildings. So, what is your biggest point of failure in your experience? What was something which you felt? Um, you can mention it, which project, and actually tell us where things goes missing during from design till execution.
So I can't think of a project that failed physically, but in the design phase, the communication gap makes things a failure. So one of the earliest lessons that I learned was that a good design does not automatically create buy-in. They'll not buy in, because if you are not able to communicate your thoughts right, and then your designs are not ready, and there's a hypertension in your office, and people have to rush in, rush out. Clients say हमें 2 दिन में ही चाहिए, within 2 days, for no good reason, but okay. So I think communication, if you can communicate with your rough to roughest of all the drawings, I feel your no project gets failed. So I think the biggest failure is only the communication, due to the communication gap that happens. But as far as I remember, there's no one project that has failed. Like if you're asking physically, then no project has failed. I have been practicing for what, seventh year going on, so बहुत टाइम भी नहीं हुआ है. It's not that long that I have not encountered such a problem, but then it might happen in the future. So do you have anything in mind that what I should do, or what I should be thinking, or what I should move for, how I should actually move forward with, if such a thing happens? Because really, like honestly, it has never happened to me, and that's a blessing.
Yeah, I guess yes. So the thing is, why we ask this question is because there will be always, how you mentioned, a communication gap, and due to communication gaps only, the execution fails. So even if the architect is having a great idea, if it is not communicated well, it gets lost during the execution. So the best way to do is to documenting it. So you have already seen the tool Architecture Playbook, so you know how documentation is actually a layer added to the architects to really showcase their efforts that they are putting in and what is really requiring on site. So we are actually tracking it down, that this is the intent and that's how it is getting executed. So we do it through design intent management. So DIM is what we are doing it. So that is how we go about it, so that there's no point of failure. Or even if it is so, I always tell in my practice, the best decision is the well-informed decision. So if it is A or B, it's okay. Let the client choose between A, but he is also informed about B also. That's why he chose A. Yes. So that is the best thing to go about it.
This is what. Okay, so project has not failed, but then this situation I have come across a lot. That clients telling me, you could have informed us earlier. Though in our situations, or in the current scenario, maybe while explaining, I have explained it to them, but it is not documented, or it is not reminded of. That's why clients have it in them कि you could have informed us. So I think yes, you're right. I mean, if it is made that transparent, then it's good.
If architecture schools disappears tomorrow, what is that one skill the architects should have in their practice?
I feel there are two things. There are two things. Now, how you are telling ki, how you have mentioned about Architecture Playbook, I'll also mention about SEPT here. I'm taking this course again, and this is an elective course, and I'm teaching about business development solely, but there's one more aspect that I'm also planning to, which is called communication. So I feel, except for design, an architect should be so strong in in their communication. Not representation, but communication. The ability to explain ideas repeatedly, explicitly, clearly. Negotiate because business development, they have to exist to design, right, the business. And manage and remanage aspirations and expectations. Lead discussions, because there might be leads coming to you via different kinds of ads, or there are different resources now to generate leads. If you are in a new city, and if you're in your old city, then people already probably know you. There are a few, I mean, through your dad, through your parent, through your brother, sister, they'll know you. So if leads are coming, you should know how to cater to them. So these are the few things: communication and business development, and a few other like lead discussion and building trust. Now communication is something through which you can build trust. You can sell your designs. Like my mom used to say, you can talk to someone in such a way that with your talk, that person knows this person is good, this person is trustable. So I think communication is a huge thing that should be taught in architecture schools, because architecture schools have repeated examinations and reviews and a lot of discussions, panel discussions. But in that panel discussion, they are judged by the design. Why have you done that? And why not this? So I think it should rather focus on communication, whether the idea was communicated. If see, I'm not questioning how the jurors are, but then again, the jurors should be of such level that they are practicing, not only teaching. I think practice, the reality between the gap between the practice and the teaching only is quite different. So having theoretical knowledge is very good, but then practical knowledge is also important. You are in a profession that requires you to go out, not sit in.
How your students see you, because you are a practicing architect as well as a faculty. So do they find any difference between a faculty who is a practicing architect?
Yeah, I mean, they will, because some of them are in their third years and some of them are in their fourth years. One or two are from their fifth year. So fifth years or fourth years, whoever are there, they are pretty much in their practicing phase only, and they have the hot blood inside them boiling so hard that they go out and practice. So basically, to cater to that boiling hot blood is this course curated, that there is a difference between practical knowledge and theoretical knowledge. If you can balance them both, you are successful with all the other aspects of communication, business development, etc. So students, they're enjoying it, and I think CEPT has this ability to do that, and CEPT pushes students to practice and have a theoretical understanding of the entire architecture as well. Because CEPT, what I feel, the students right now, the students who are pursuing architecture, not only CEPT, there might be other colleges as well. So there might be there are colleges who are pushing forward to the real meaning of architecture, rather than just preparing them for the market, rather than preparing a mass group of a large or a herd of sheeps. So right now there are very good ways of teaching architecture, and I feel, yes, the gap between practical knowledge and theoretical knowledge is really important.
As practicing architects, we get very much attached to our ideas. How do you define that thin line where you have to let go of a certain idea or keep or make it worth staying for or fighting for? How do you balance it out?
When you are in your academics, it's all right to fight for your design, but then when you come to the practice, it's about reality and budgeting and aspirations of the clients as well. So I ask one question to myself whenever these situations come across: is this idea really serving the project, or is it serving my ego? That my design is fabulous, so it should remain as is. Because there are some really, groundbreaking architectural structures from outside, but it is failing in the livability index. There are renowned architects. I'll not name them, but then there are some renowned architects from Bombay, Hyderabad, who has done some crazy work, like very good buildings from the outside. But when you go, if it's an apartment, I have been to one in Bombay, and they've said the livability index, or we are not happy here. Okay, so I think rather than serving your own ego, it should be serving the project and the stakeholders or the clients who you're making who are making the space for and designing the space for, basically. So yeah, just to add it. So if an idea contributes meaningfully to the project's need, yes, I'll fight for it. But then if it's not, and if it's not and I'm still doing it, it's for the ego. So this is the one question that I always ask. But if I'm defending, like what I'm saying, but if I'm defending it simply because I created it, then it's solely a thing to reconsider, because it's ego, like full on ego only. So architecture requires conviction. This is what I feel. But it also sort of requires humility. So that's why there should be a balance. Of course, there should be a balance.
Okay, that was
Right.
interesting.
One of my faculties has told me, any line that you draw, maybe you're an urban designer or you're acting as an architect or an engineer or any sort of consultant, any line that you draw is worth some money. So think before you draw the line. So this is what I keep running through my mind always. Like, rather than making a line, I think of it whether this line will make any sense or not.
Because it's apart from money, it is also the timeline which is going to cost, or it's also the material which is going to get into it. So all the parameters comes into consideration whenever you are designing.
100%.
What is the advantage a young practicing architect is having as compared to a 30 years into the practice architect? What advantage you have?
Our office is a second generation office. My dad is an architect since 1987. Okay, he's been running the office in 1987, and me and my wife to be there. We are like considerably new to the market and the business and the office. So one word that comes to my mind is adaptability. We have seen a huge transition. We are millennials, right? So-called Gen Zs and millennials. So we are millennials. We have seen the biggest transition, maybe with respect to design, technology, engineering, medical, everything. So I think adaptability is the right word. We grew up during rapid technological change. So we are comfortable moving between design, digital tools, urban systems, or AI, like in today's world, then visualization, content creation. So the flexibility is valuable. So now there's also an advantage and disadvantage. Now, advantage of someone who's senior, like what I make full use of my dad, is judgment. They can judge a place better than you do because of their experience, because they have undergone such experiences in their previous times. So probably judgment, and for us it's adaptability. Now, experience teaches you which problems actually matter. Now, young architects often underestimate or undervalue the thought how valuable good judgment becomes over time. Because again, as mentioned, there are people who have that boiling heat inside them to go out and practice and to play with the money. So I think adaptability and judgment, these are the two things. Now, senior architects, they have the uh, thing of judgment, and for us, I think we are very adaptable and we can take up to the newer technologies like very very fast.
So in that way, what is one thing which your like a senior architect or your father would have underestimated you for?
Tools. I think tools, like I have repeatedly heard him saying or others saying इससे कुछ नहीं होगा. Think out of the box. But then thinking out of the box, and architects, even in our architecture schools, we needed some sort of physical being or a physical thing or a non-living thing to generate or ideate a concept. So they don't have anything as of now. They don't have anything in their minds of developing a concept. We follow a set of rules or a step-by-step process to make a concept, or how to present that concept to sell the design quicker to the clients. So I feel they have yes, they have come up a long time, and judgment is one good thing. Lekin I think they believe that whatever they say, it's true and it's final. It might not be true, it might not be the demand of the client. So I have seen a lot of clients. Okay, this is very interesting. I have seen a lot of my dad's clients. Like I have repeatedly told them that आपके बेटे को बुलाइए ना, call your son, ask him to give a design now. First, we are young, so we have newer imagination capabilities. Okay, fine, that's true. And other thing is, they know, the clients themselves who are very aware of their surroundings, they know that if they come to me, they'll get a result which is quicker. Of course, now judgment is again contradicting with the elder people. We are not able to judge that fast, but then quicker solutions ke liye we are good. We can present them with quicker solutions. So these are the two things, which is adaptability for the younger people, and for the elderly or the long time practitioners, I think it's judgment. That they have been doing this for long, so they are able to judge faster. So if we can bring a symphony between the two, which hardly happens, and there are repeated fights with my father, it's all good. It's all good. We have to come up to that, bring that symphony back, if we can do that.
I appreciate that you're open up to actually discuss what is happening inside the office.
I mean, to add that, Aditya, the honest thing is, it's always like I feel myself privileged because I have a roof over my head and a shelter and a hand on my head. Ki whenever I need some help, I can go to him, even if he does not know. Okay, this is one thing that I've seen in my dad, that even if he does not understand, even if he does not know, he'll try to answer it somewhat the other way, and some small thing will come out of whatever he says. Some small thing will come out of what he says, because as an urban designer, he's not an urban designer. He does not perceive the city as I do. But before taking any decision, I go to him. What should I do? Maybe he does not know about it, but then he'll speak something. And that comes only after years of practice, and that is what I want to explain you by telling how elders have the ability to judge better.
What is something which architects complains about the client, but later they realize that the client was actually right when they are seeing multiple clients in their practice?
So first thing as a practitioner till today, what I learned, and then this became stronger with a very recent project which we are doing right now, is kuch log, a few people are the way they are. You can't complain because they are being rude to you or being very manipulative. They are like that. You have to accept that fact. And being an architect, you will meet hundreds of people every day. Consultants, no matter it's consultants, contractors, clients, etc. So whatever I think that they were right is solely sometimes about budgets. sometimes who's very aware, who's only those who are very aware of their surroundings are sometimes right about budgets. There is actually not there is there are ways of calculating how much the space should cost in making, but then I feel it also depends on, reiterations or rethinking of the entire thought. So I think it's sometimes about the budgets. That architects often see budgets as limitations, but it should not be. Clients see the entire, idea of budget and budgeting as a reality.
Yes.
When someone comes to you and asks, ये कितने में होगा, how much will this thing cost me, it's a real concern, and I think it's a reality. So architects see budgets as a limitation, clients don't. Clients see it as a reality. Now most clients are making one of their largest investments. This I agree, I feel this is very true. If you're building someone's home especially, then it's one of the largest investments of their lives. If someone wants to make a bungalow, then architecture, I'm just telling you about services. So architecture plus interiors plus small aspects of HVAC, electrical, plumbing, all the aspects of it will come together. So as an architect, you are there to cater. I think architects shouldn't agree to something that they don't know. Should not. This also I've come across. There are many architects who have ruined buildings, especially the new ones. So ruined buildings, ruined services for the entire building, because they'll get money out of the client. So I think since they're making the largest investments of their lives, architects should be more sensible to what they're saying, to what they are building. Now they have every right to ask, what does it cost and why is it costing more? And there are a few who will ask you repeatedly, कहाँ पे जा रहा है? Why is it going? Maybe you have clarified, but it's their right and it's your job to answer them. It's your job to answer them. There's one more question which a few philosophical clients also ask you, is that what am I receiving from this space? Now, understanding that perspective fundamentally charges how I view practice. So this is what I feel. This is what I feel is budget. Budget is one thing that architects usually complain about, but it should not be. And they should be able to, cater around that particular budget. If you're not, if you're selecting this or budget projects not as your niche, then it's different. Just completely move out of that place. But if you're selecting to cater to almost all sorts of projects, then I feel budget should not be a complaint.
We see a lot of estimator calculators in the internet where the people put in the criterias and the estimate how different it is compared to a client sitting with an architect and creating an entire estimate.
So estimators, and there are many AI tools which have come up today. So there are many tools which have come up today where clients think, who already do their homeworks, who already a few of the clients are there who do their homeworks. They come up with Pinterest images and कि ये करने में इतना लग जाएगा. I have estimated. Now that might not be true. That might not be true. But when you sit with an architect, the architect will tell you a lot more things than the AI estimator or the automatic estimator tells you. So I think sitting with an architect or sitting with a manual mind, sometimes it works better.
Artificial mind is also telling certain things on the basis of data. So what is something which architect will give input extra?
AI right now, AI can draw plans, है ना? these days AIs can draw plans. Like AIs, I'm telling you, my multiple tools. So AI can draw plans. It can generate 3Ds. Okay, 3Ds and all okay, but generate plans and all. So now the thing is, when you sit with an architect, the architects think about how will you perceive that place. Will this space be enough for you? Because when you give a space, give a plan, give a plot, give just a normal residential plan, a flat and apartment plan to AI, it will generate, it will give you the 3D isometric view of the plan, right? Lekin, will that space be enough for you? This is the question that AI needs to ask. Is it asking? No. That's why you need a manual architect who is sitting with his brain and pen and an office. So that is what I feel. The human touch is still required. Human touch is still required, because understanding the client, that AI sometimes fail. I have seen clients coming up with drawings with a commode in the kitchen. This is a very wrong interpretation. AI has come up with this drawing and the clients did not notice that. So the correct dimensioning, the current vastu, the correct planning, I think you need an architect.
What you were telling, I agree in terms of planning, designing how the spatial context is. But a calculator, for example, is such a database driven output. Can we not trust an estimator for the project budget?
See. Right now AI has built some tools and I personally have used them, but then sometimes it's not true, because due to a lot of constraints, like in the present day we are still facing the problem of manufacturing. There are certain products which are not being manufactured due to the shortage of gas, LNG, etc. So when an estimate is prepared by an estimator, automatic estimator, it tells you a very general quote. Firstly, it might be very niche and it might be catering to that city as well. Now every city is different, every cost in every due to state tax and all, so it's different. That also I agree, the estimator is taken into account, but then the delay in purchase, it will not mention those. The delay in purchase might rise the product's cost. So that's why I think having someone who's doing it manually, I feel it's better, because that time the inflation caused, the shortages caused, the non-manufacturing problems. These are the problems that clients need to know while they're making their estimate. So I feel AI sometimes do not consider that, the estimator especially.
Yeah, I guess we can take consideration of what like lump sum budget comes, but we should always go to an architect to actually verify what is happening.
Yeah, I mean AI, especially the AI models are more towards the westerns and not towards the global south, or especially not the Indian, because India is multicultural. There are different segments of culture, people, and their ways of building. So I think estimator might go wrong there, and every project, it's different. Like whatever we are designing, there's one way that we are designing completely in one line, and there are also a few projects which need a different kind of thought. So to generate those accurate results, sometimes you need to integrate art also. So art's payment or estimate, AI cannot do it. It's really art, and that's only manual interpretation of that. So that's why AI will not be able to generate, or an estimator, automatic estimator will not be able to generate actually present it properly.
Yes, the entire data for every AI is still westernized. You mentioned it, right? Because, for example, Rajasthani architecture or Rajasthan architecture is way different from Kerala because of the climate difference which is there. As well as if you come to somewhere west also, the architectural style defines the construction because of the weather, context, region, people, and that cannot be, if it is given to AI, maybe it will consider, but for now, even if the calculator calculates, it will be a Western estimate. It will not be an Indian cost.
There are a few tools which are being developed right now. I am a part of one small project which is trying to develop and learn about the Indian systems as well. It is trying to learn. It's not proven. It's not out in the market, and I don't know how fast or how early the machine can learn, but it's trying to. The thing is, India, again, as mentioned, it's multicultural and it's evolving every day. So to be at par with that evolution, it sometimes becomes very, very difficult. So I think if you have to take the help of an automatic estimator, consider that it's more westernized rather than more Indian.
Okay, so I'll ask you another question. So
Yeah.
now, if you are an architect starting your career from zero, like from the beginning itself, what are the things that you have to consider at this point of time? Is it design? Is it budget, business, AI? What is the primary thing which architect should have?
We can also do things simultaneously, right? We are human and we are capable of doing a lot of things simultaneously. So what I feel is design thinking, yes. Technology and AI in today's date, yes. And business. These three things. Now business also includes communication skills. It's not only about making money, it's also about selling your design. So I think these are the three things that should be simultaneously happen. So design thinking, technology and AI, and business and communication skills. Now the future architect will not succeed only by being a designer. This is what I feel. Like the upcoming architects, the upcoming generations of architects, it will not only uh, remain present in the market just because they are a designer and like fabulous designer. But the future architect must also understand about systems, communication, entrepreneurship, and technology. This is very important in today's date. Now here again, judgment versus adaptability comes into the picture. The older generation might not be able to, but they can hire people who can do it for them. If they're smart, they can do that. And I've seen many practices doing that.
Tell us about an on-site incident which has taught you more than what architecture college would have taught you.
Fine. So I think architecture schools spend too much time teaching students how to think like designers, and too little time teaching them how to think like professionals. Okay. So the industry does not suffer from the shortage of ideas. It suffers from the doers, basically, from a shortage of execution. A simple idea executed exceptionally well will outperform a brilliant idea executed poorly almost every time. So, from my sides, what I feel is I try to give the leverage to the people who are working on site. I give, yes, of course, I give them drawing, but then I also give them a scope to think it through. I ask them, I have repeatedly explained people, I have told my workers that do not keep your mind at home and come to the site. Don't. Come with your mind to the site so that you and I can both think it through together.
Can you state an example what happened on site which gave you an experience of so?
See, these incidences and these situations happen every day at all the sites. Some or the other problem, and especially when two to three different kinds of workers or laborers or consultants are working together, there's always a problem. Okay? Now, when you build a team of your own of consultants, they usually try to maintain a symphony, but then sometimes it does not happen. Some or the other will spoil someone else's work. I'll give a very recent example. Okay, very recent example. There's a very good interior project that my wife to be she is handling, and I try to look at the execution part of it. This is a traditional renovation. So, I mean, the client's wife was pregnant and was expecting very, very soon, and probably it has like nearing dates. So, they wanted to renovate a large chunk of their home, especially their master bedroom plus the balcony and a few other zones in their home. Now, the area of like those zones, like especially the master bedroom, walking closet area, bathroom, the balcony and the balcony extension is approximately 1050 square feet. It's a large space. It's a bungalow, so it's a part of a bungalow, so 1050 square feet. Okay? And they wanted to integrate traditional things like especially lippen art. You know what lippen art is? So yeah, it's a lippen art plus mirror work, and it's happening together. Okay, this is happening. Light changes, carpentry work, balcony extension. There's MS framework plus terracotta blocks plus glass on top plus painting job, polish job, all happening together, and plumbing. Entire team is mine, but it lacks coordination because these particular consultants, they are also working somewhere else. There are other projects going on for them as well. There are other multiple projects also that which are going together. Now I ask my carpenter, now what has happened to this side, that side, or any other side.
That you learned majorly on site, balancing it out more rather than in
Yes.
college. Young architects are afraid to talk about money. What are your biggest learnings when it comes to fee, value, and business in architecture?
Now I learned that clients don't pay for your designs. Clients don't pay for your designs while they should, but they don't pay for your designs. They pay for risk mitigation, design decisions, or coordination and confidence. Of course, confidence. Once I understood that, my perception of fees changed completely. Because if I can give you an example of my first ever project done was an interior project, a very small interior project in the Northeast, and it's a place where tuitions happen, and I still remember the name. Okay, and I got paid 35,000 rupees in 2019 or 2018, I guess. Like after almost 1.5 years of badgering, and what you have asked me, no? The question about people, the younger art generation or the younger architects are afraid to ask the questions. They are not afraid. I feel they feel hesitant because this particular generation of architects, they have not encountered the fact of denial. They have not encountered no for an answer. So I feel like this is now the conversation is going towards a little bit between millennials and Gen Zs, but then yes, this sometimes I've realized that they have not understood the value of no for an answer and how to cater to that no and make it a yes by convincing. So I think this is not a problem. This happens learning from others or consulting people, helping the elders or the already practicing young architects, not the older ones they'll just go, we'll talk about it later. So the younger people, they can talk about it, like, but they should be asked. So I think it's about hesitation, not about the judgment or the fees.
When you asked for the fee, you hesitated for the tuition center which you renovate.
I did, of course I did. Firstly, that person was known to me. That's a bigger problem. Okay, that's a bigger problem.
Then how did you approach?
I didn't. That uncle's wife did. So how much will you charge? So once this question is asked, and you really hope that sometimes people ask you that how much will you charge for this, and sometimes people don't, sometimes people do. So if they don't, then I feel you should be very bold enough that you are in the market not for free. It's not a hobby. It's a serious job. So if you are giving a service, it requires to bring in cash for you. It requires to bring in cash flow for you. So you should be bold enough. It's fine. It's not bad. It's not at all rude to ask for your own money. Of course, I was hesitant, but right now I'm not. And I am currently, I feel that I'm privileged to be in a state, and most of my clients, 95% of my clients are business doers, only 5% are job doers. The business people, they know how to handle money. So I feel I am very privileged to be in a state which knows how to earn and respect and spend money in the right places. So yes, this is the thing. This is the thing. And also, I was just answering you this question, and I was thinking of your previous question as well, about site coordination and all. So if you ask me again, like what site taught me, site actually taught me drawing is just a hypothesis. It's just a hypothesis. Okay. Now reality begins when materials, labors, the physical aspects like weather, budgets, and all of it enter the equation. That's the main thing. That's the main thing. Probably I would tell you about the previous question and this question that I've already answered it about money. So it's nothing wrong about asking for money. It's always nice to be clearer to the opposite person as well, and I think it's equally a job of the client as well to respect and ask your consultant how much will they charge for the service.
It reminds me of my old project where I did the projects and never got paid for it, but later hard lessons learned. So I started, quoting that this is the price for it, and respect that this is the price and this is how I will execute it. And if they're okay with it, let them come in. Otherwise, thank you so much.
During this business learning, communications and all, people or the younger architects, should also learn about negotiations. Again, I'll tell you, I'm in a state which taught me a lot. Gujarat has taught me how to negotiate and how people negotiate brutally. It has taught me, and I feel business teaching, business learnings, and negotiations are a must that every architect should know.
So tell me 3 points which a young architect can start implementing to negotiate better.
One, have about ample and correct knowledge about the market. Okay? That's one major thing. If you don't know what others are charging, probably you're going wrong. And every state has their own way of charges and charging. Basically, you can't charge something that I charge in Ahmedabad. I cannot come and charge in Bangalore. If I'm charging something, that particular charge cannot be as at par with Calcutta. Okay, so you should know brutally everything about your market. Second, you should be very, very bold about it. This is what it takes. These are my things. These are the ways that we work. And thirdly, probably you don't have to be vulnerable at all. Try not to be vulnerable and try not to, show who you are. Really, people are not interested. People are not interested in who you really are or where your costs are going. You don't have to give them a breakdown. Ki yahan mera cost lagega, so I should be charging this much. You only tell me. You don't have to get an answer from them. If you ask them, you only tell me these are my costings. Especially, I'll tell you, when we started in Ahmedabad, there are a few mistakes that I did. I talked to a few clients of mine. You only tell me these are my studio or rentals plus my operation costs. Then there are employee charges. Then there are other physicalities like the printing, machines, etc. So they are not interested. The moment you show your vulnerability, the project is gone. The project is no more yours. So these are the three major things that you should know about this negotiations. Before you negotiate, you should have, and I think every architect, no matter how experienced you are, if you have a meeting with someone tomorrow, you should prepare it today. You should be prepared for it today. It's your job, it's your only job actually as an architect to cater to the needs of your clients. So I think these are the three things.
Really well answered. It is really interesting to actually listen. So, why do our clients ghost? Is it only because of the budget which you told, or the cost which you have told, or is it the the architect has to come up for a follow up?
See, in today's date, I feel architects must also agree that they need follow-ups. Yes, you can't have that attitude ki kaam unka hai. It's their work, so they'll follow. No. There are a lot of architects in the market. They have different options. Yes, you also have different options in choosing your clients, but then they also have more options in choosing their architects. Of course, we are a very small fraternity, but then they have their ability to choose as well. It's not always about architects not following up. Sometimes it's also about the client does not know what he wants. It's your job as an architect that you communicate the ideas before they tell it out loud to you. You mention ki these are the things that you might need, and if you see them agreeing to most of your points, then you can realize, of course, that you are in the right track. I'll tell you one more interesting story as well. There are some clients who do window shopping, and some are unnecessarily honest. They'll come to you, they'll tell, like I have encountered this, so I'm telling. There are clients who come to you who will come and tell you that, sir, to be honest, I have already met 5 architects, but उनका मज़ा नहीं आ रहा है. Like क्या मज़ा नहीं आ रहा है? क्या मज़ा नहीं आ रहा है? He is also spent the last 5 architects that if they are architects, today's market is dangerous, Aditya. So if they are architects, they have spent 5 years, they have learned almost the same things that you did. It's also about learning every day, if they didn't or if they did. So I have met 5 architects and then उनका मज़ा नहीं आया. So my first question is, if you have met 5 architects, क्या आपका मज़ा नहीं आया? First question. And if you have 5 architects, then why do you come to the 6th one? That is my second question. Now, second question is his first. Second question's answer is his first statement कि मज़ा नहीं आया. अरे क्या मज़ा नहीं आया? उसका आंसर नहीं है. They don't have the answer for that. So, I mean, it is how it is, and as a young architect, I think you should have the power to cater to all this and take no for an answer. It's very important. There are elder people, or elder to you, of course, who will try to manipulate you or take advantage of you in different ways. You should be smart enough, aware enough that people can do that.
Because architects are doing only the design phase, they are not taking care of the execution, because execution is mostly taken care by the contractors, and that's why they would not go with the architect and only go with the contractor itself. Ghosting will happen because of that.
See, the ghosting will happen. There's no way you can stop it. Of course, there are no ways that you can stop it. But then, I think execution, usually what we do as a firm, that when clients come to us, no matter the project is a turnkey or a consultancy base, we tell them we will not charge you, but consultancy base, you pay me consultancy base ka fee only, but we will come to the side at least monthly twice to see your execution happening right. Because consultancy base ho ya na ho, you are taking the design from me, it's my name attached to yours. So if the project is not happening right, and if you tell someone that it is my project, if the project has happened good, of course I am happy, and if it did not, then it brings a bad name for me. Now contractors, they have a tendency to do more and more projects. Okay, so to do more and more projects, they charge less and lesser. in a metro city like Ahmedabad, contractors are charging very minimal, but there are clients as well who take designs from architects and get it constructed on site. So the same thing. If someone else comes, sir, you give us the design, we'll get it executed. By who is your first question. Second question, if the answer is by a contractor that I know of, second question could be, after the design is done, can I meet him once or her once? Okay. Third question is, to get things done very fast, contractors tend to take cheaper materials firstly, and like these are honest things, and whatever is available, or sometimes change things according to what favors the situation more.
Exactly. So what happens is the architect design intent was to make an arch or something or and a passage to go from one zone to another. If the contractor is not able to translate exactly onto the execution side, he will do it accordingly until the architect doesn't know, or maybe we are not able to communicate better and it would go off. But if it is a team, maybe it will execute better. But if it is only taken by the contractor, it goes missing.
It goes missing, and I have also come across a lot of clients who came to me. आपका बात सही था, आपका बात सही था.
Yes, so architects should take not just the design part, they should be part of the execution. As an architect, we can't keep on going to the site for every update because maybe twice in a month we can go, but we can't be there all the time, right? So why Architecture Playbook comes into picture is because we are digitally tracking what is happening on site. So even one person who is the site, site in charge, he can keep on giving us updates as an architect that this is what is happening. So even if you are taking up the design part, the execution part is taken care through digital documentation, writing it on site, what is happening. The report will be entirely generated from the start of the design till the execution phase. For that, client is ready to give a money because there is a report of what is getting executed, is entire life cycle of the project is tracked from the starting till the end. And for that, generally architects are not getting paid for the last 10% of their design fee. If you are able to generate a report like this where you are telling this is how the entire design was and this is how the execution happened. For example, there is a column, the entire life cycle of the column has been showed or the room has been showed, and for that report the client is ready to pay the last 10%. So you as an architect, you can get the payment through those reports.
Right.
So one of my client from Cool, she mentioned when I showed her the entire architecture playbook that it is acting like a Bible for her. I asked why. So she told, because this entire project I am making it for my child. So if it is digitally documented, anytime if he wants to do renovation and all, it acts as a manual for it. It acts as a house manual which they can refer back to and again, do the execution. What we are trying to do is actually what work has happened, if even if it is deviating, who is taking in charge for it, and what is the actual solution given. So everything is tracked is what we are doing. So even if you see BIM tools or what is this project management tools, they are only tracking the task and what is the timeline for it, but they are not tracking what actually happened on site, why there was a delay, what happened on site, and actually tracking it digitally makes an evidence for the client as well as good for the client as well as architect to look back what happened. And it is a value what architects is providing. For that they can charge. For that they can charge that this is the amount and this is the report. So remember I asked you a question in the beginning about the commission. So I would suggest you that if you're having a report like this, you need not to even actually ask as a commission amount. It is actually a report that you're providing as an architect for which the client is ready to pay. So that would be great for you.
Yeah, that definitely would be great for me, and I think playbook. I have seen the entire demo, right? And did you update anything about that?
We are updating now. Also, version 2 is coming and it will be launching very soon. So, how do you think about Architecture Playbook?
No, no. I think I was all sort of convinced.
Yes, so we will
I
invite you for the version 2 when we are inaugurating. Definitely, please be there. Okay, in Architecture Playbook, we talk about the intent gap from the design till execution. In your practice, where have you seen an intent gap where it is not getting translated on site?
There's again, we have just discussed this. There's always this a cold war, I can say, or misunderstanding, communication gap, but the entire design intent gets lost when there is entire this miscommunication or whatever is happening between the architect and the consultant, or the consultant and the contractor, or the contractor and the site team. Sometimes contractor takes up work and leaves the work, explains the site team blindly and bluntly, and then they execute. So that times the design intent, sometimes when you said that arch thing is not done because architect ko pata nahi hai ki it's not possible. Why is it not possible? If they are willing to answer me that time intent will not be lost. Every transfer of duties introduces loss. That should be acceptable. Now the design intents get lost due to this, and I feel the design intents, how this should not get lost is when an architect tries to spend more time on site. Okay? Now architects should, sometimes it's not possible, but then spending more time on site, it should not restrict and I think it should not restrict us, or as the fraternity, or as an architect, to learn more, because once you go to the site you'll see a lot more things than what is existing on the paper. More execution problems and communication problems you will see when things are happening on site. As mentioned earlier, the interior project that I'm talking about, there are multiple services happening together. There's always a communication gap and design intent almost getting lost, but it is not, because the team is good, teamwork might not be good. Team is good, teamwork might not be good. So repeatedly, starting from 9:30 a.m. in the morning, you start getting calls, electrician calls, that यहाँ पे बोलते हैं, they have some local language को जरी काटना, which is basically हाँ तो जरी उसकी चौड़ाई कम है, उसका width कम है, मेरा लाइट नहीं बैठ रहा है, though I have given them the way sample, this is wrong. So my question to them is, you all are of my team, you are working together, rather than telling it to me, why don't you discuss that on site and get it executed correctly? They're like, no, you should also know. I'm like, it doesn't matter if I know. I should know, okay. The problems, when I come to the site, you can tell me, but right now, it's no use you calling me and telling me. Because I'll not be able to do anything about it. You calling me and telling me, I'll call the carpenter, ki why was it wrong?
Yes, because that has to be communicated, right?
Yes. So rather than you telling me, if you know the carpenter and he's not a foreign guy, you can just tell him he's on site.
I'm taking your point, but don't you think so? They are informing you because you are the major stakeholder. You are actually the conductor of the entire orchestra, right? So each person will play only on your, if there is any changes also, they're gonna ask you first, even if they're calling on call, and even if you're not on site. Otherwise, there will be a blame game between each of the worker who is on site. Nobody will take responsibility. Correct. And maybe in the end, they will blame on you only that sir did not come, and that is why blame will come on you, maybe.
It might. Now they are telling me, like my team telling me, because sometimes satisfying the clients becomes secondary than satisfying ourselves. When your design comes up, no, they know, your people know who are working for you, they constantly tell you this is also one reason, because I personally did a lot of revisions on site after it was completed. So they know, they are calling me because they know कि अगर ये अच्छे से नहीं हुआ, again we have to do it. So that's why they're calling. But my point is coordination bhi. If the team is one particular team, so my point is when the team is one, that time you can self coordinate as well. Ki why is it why it is wrong? There should be an answer, because I am not responsible for being wrong or the zari happening in a wrong width. You gave the sample, he cut it as per the sample. Now, what mistake he did, how will I know? He didn't tell me, or you didn't tell me, because you gave him the sample a month back after the construction of the, at least a small part of wardrobe is done. When the time comes of fixing the light, that time if you go and realize that zari ka width is wrong, so that time I also can question him. He is my team, of course I can question him. Some foreign guy, that's a different situation.
But rather than he giving the sizes, you can give a size. Maybe that will solve the problem. Because what I do is I create an entire technical drawing which will mention that this is the size you have to use, or this is the measurement, or this is the company product you have to use, which will exactly fit where my design is requiring it. So that's the technical drawing would solve the.
It is given. It is given. It is given. Everything is given. But sometimes carpenters also need the actual product, a sample, a small sample. The sample was given to them.
Yes, so you know what? Interestingly, we have also, we have also incorporated the 2D drawings with the 3D modeling, where you can see that the carpenter also can see the 3D model. So I was also thinking the same thing, and I added this feature in Architecture Playbook where if my carpenter is seeing the technical drawing, simultaneously they'll be able to see a 3D model out of it, so that they can visualize what is the intent of the architect and why are they making it. They should know the entire intent. If they know it, they'll be able to execute it or maybe resolve it on their own. But if they don't know what you are demanding or what the entire end goal is, maybe they are trained very well for the skill they are having, the carpentry skill, but they are not as much as trained as how we have spent 5 years in technical drawings. So obviously they might not be able to read the technical drawing, but they can definitely visually see what is required on site. So a 3D modeling is the answer, is what I was navigating and finding. I was thinking that 3D modeling, or getting the visuals right, is the right way.
Right. I mean, 3Ds, of course, it works out better for understanding at least.
What is an architectural opinion which you have, which most of the architects disagree with?
So it's actually a difficult question, but then I think architects overvalue originality and undervalue execution. This is what I feel. A very well executed simple idea often requires this I think I have mentioned you, that I have mentioned ki it creates more impact. A simple idea well executed creates more impact than a, a badly executed brilliant concept or a design. So I think this is the thing, that I think architects overvalue design and originality and concept or something which is on the table, but undervalue when the thing gets done on site. So this is what I'd say.
What is a note of advice would you want to give a young architect who's just going to enter the field?
So thank you for asking this. Me myself being young, I am giving.
What is the advice which you want to give a younger architect than you?
Younger architect, of course. So this is what I've learned, and I think I'd say don't build portfolio, build a judgment. Portfolio is there to sell yourself, that's okay, but build a judgment. Learn how buildings are detailed, how projects are financed, how people make decisions, and how construction actually happens on site. Architecture is not a sprint towards recognition. It's basically a long-term profession where credibility compounds slowly over the decades. Okay, so this is what I would say. Don't try to be fast and build portfolio. This is a profession which happens and escalates with time. So when people say slow and steady wins the race, this is true for this profession. Similarly, I'm also 2 years or 1 year lesser than you. 7th year running, because I'll tell you why. I had a leverage because my dad was an architect and I had seen this from a long time, and so that's why I was introduced to this surrounding. So that's why what I feel is don't build a portfolio. Rather than that, build a judgment. Build how to do it all. So focus on becoming useful before becoming maybe a famous person. So I'd say that try to become more useful to people rather than becoming famous. This is what I strongly would say, because architects are running behind recognitions and media. So I'll say that you should learn about this, and rather than building a portfolio, build a judgment.
So now we are moving towards rapid fire question. Tell me one material you think every architect should understand deeply.
Simple, plywood. They should understand ply very much properly.
Tell me which will you prefer, a sketchbook or a BIM tool?
Sketchbook.
Why?
Sketchbook, why? Because sometimes thoughts are there in your mind and you would actually want to portray it out to people. So rather than digitally trying to make it, I think a quick sketch works faster, because I personally purchase my devices also that support stylus. So I feel sketching is important.
One building you wish you had designed in your life.
Empire State Building, USA. I really want I personally I really like taller structures, so I want to actually build taller structures.
If you could change one thing about architecture education, what it would be?
Repeated reviews and juries. I think one-on-one conversations work better.
What is one habit that has made you better architect?
Persistence. Remaining in the place. I think holding on to them. This I am a person. I don't have any sort of patience, nothing. But this particular field has taught me how to be patient, how to take no for an answer. So I think yes, this is the thing. Persistence, remaining there.
Complete this sentence. Great architecture is?
Knowledge sharing.
That was really good. And your favorite city?
As an architect, my favorite city would be Calcutta.
That's really amazing. Thank you so much for joining us for the podcast, and all the insights were really valuable. I also started taking notes, because your experience is very unique with your own journey, and I really appreciate for you to share it.
Thank you so much. It was really fun, as mentioned, to get it all out. It was really fun. Thank you so much, Aditya.